How's it going, everybody? We're back. It is Tuesday. Only a 4-game slate tonight on DraftKings, but we're still going to break it down and give you a first look at 3 of my top values and 2 of the favorite studs that I want to build around tonight on DraftKings for NBA. So, like I said, really short slate. Probably going to be a shorter video than normal. Please still click that like button. Let's see if we can get that subscribe button. See if we can get, I think we hit 300 likes for the first time on one of these NBA videos yesterday. So thank you guys for all the support. Picked up a bunch of new subscribers as well. Thank you guys for jumping on the ship. If this is your first time to these videos, I don't give out full lineups. That's not what I do. I'm not here to feed you a lineup that you can play in tonight's action. I'm here to teach you how to fish, give you an idea of how I break things down. I've also been asked a few times in the chat, hey, have you ever won anything at this? I've done all right for the last 5-6 years at daily fantasy. I'm not going to brag about what my accomplishments have been in the daily fantasy community or what I am. If you want, you can look them up. They're there. There's enough about me out there for you guys to find it. So please click the like button, click subscribe, and let's learn how to fish on tonight's slate. So the first thing that we look at, or that I want to look at in terms of NBA, is 3 players that we can look at for value. And we do have something that happened last night. Kyle Lowry was carried off the floor after a back spasm near the end of yesterday's game. I'm assuming that he's not going to be back tonight on the second half of a back-to-back, which means that we have players, and the way that players are priced, for those of you who have never really thought about it and why we find value and how we find value in daily fantasy NBA, Lowry's price is where it is for a reason. He averages this amount of points. If you take this amount of points, it breaks down to the amount, it's some sort of algorithm that DraftKings comes up with. Getting into how they do it, whatever, it's irrelevant. But it has to do with their minutes per game, and then you figure out how many fantasy points per minute they score, and then that kind of gives you a price tag. And then we want to get roughly 6 times their price tag. It's more lenient at the top end. I don't need 6x from a 10K guy, but I need a little bit more than 6x from an absolute minimum salary guy. He's right there in the middle, so we'd need maybe about 40 points from Kyle Lowry to be happy. He averages just under that. He's going to be out. So at the point guard spot, you have 48 minutes to be filled. 32.5 of those are right here just taken up by Kyle Lowry every single day. Los, thank you for the sub. I appreciate you. And MP, thank you for the bits. Appreciate the support of the stream. 2 months in a row. Show him some love in the chat, please, for LOS72783. So we get all these minutes, right, that have opened up, that somebody has to play 48 minutes at the point guard position that have to be filled. So what we get is we get these 2 guys right here. We got DeLon Wright, who's going to play expanded minutes, right? We've seen what he does when he gets expanded minutes. He's only 4,400. And we get Fred VanVleet. Say that 5 times fast. Who should see a minutes bump as well, probably up into the mid to high 20s, 25 to 29 minutes, somewhere in that range. And what I was saying about Lowry goes for the value guys as well. VanVleet is priced for somebody who plays 17.5 minutes. We expect him to play 25 to 29 minutes tonight. So therefore, he is mispriced. He is underpriced because he's going to still be able to exploit his fantasy points per minute. Now that's going to change, right? Because his normal fantasy points per minute could be with Lowry on the floor. It could be with DeMar DeRozan on the floor, anything like that. And those are going to change when you have a high usage guy off. DeMar DeRozan sees a massive uptick in usage, goes up to 42% usage whenever Lowry's off the floor. So he is going to be, he's going to see a major uptick in terms of his fantasy points per minute, but so does VanVleet, and so does DeLon Wright. And both of them are underpriced based on the minutes that we expect them to play. So we can just plug both of these guys right in the point guard and shooting guard spot, assuming that Lowry is out. Now, if Lowry's in later in the day, this is something we're going to change. And that's the next thing that I have to express to all of you is be at your workstation. Do not set and forget an NBA lineup. This is not NFL. This is not MLB, where you get the lineups 2 hours beforehand. The NBA is the absolute wild, wild west. They do not tell you who is in and who is out sometimes. Every once in a while they will, but sometimes they don't. So you rely on beat writers, you rely on Twitter to pass that message along to you that somebody is out or not. And sometimes you don't find out until after lock, but most times you do find out before. At least we have an idea where the danger lies before lock happens. Right now, we have him as questionable, Lowry. We're expecting him questionable to doubtful. We're expecting him to sit out tonight, which makes VanVleet and Wright 2 of the best and easiest value plays on the board, and that's where we're going to lean early. If that changes, if Lowry plays tonight, I want neither of these guys. So if we catch news before lock, and lock is at 7:30 Eastern time. You see mine says 4:30. I'm on the left coast, so it is only 9 a.m. in the morning for me as we're doing this. Lineups lock at 4:30 p.m. If we get news that he's in, these guys need to be out of your lineups. So be at your workstation a minimum of 30 minutes before lock and be ready with your if-then statements. If Lowry plays, then these guys are out. If Lowry's out, then these guys are in. If-then statements tantamount to your success as a daily fantasy player, and you should be compiling them for anybody that's got an injury situation. What happens if this happens? Well, who plays? What happens to their usage? You need to figure all this stuff out before that happens with anybody that's on the injury list on that day. Now, moving on to our next value play, there's two other guards. This is going to be a 4-guard night from what it looks like to me. There's one guy that we've been playing a lot recently, and it's J.J. Barea. Kind of stunk it up the last time he played. Still got the same amount of minutes. Didn't get the assist. That was the point, the thing that fell, right? His points have remained consistent. His shots, got 12 shots out of him last game, and he didn't shoot his normal percentage, which kept his scoring down. But the assist column was what fell, which kept his fantasy points down. Price is at 5.7K. It's been elevating. It's right where it was the last time. I like him more at the low fives. I'm okay with him tonight at 5,700, but he's not my favorite third guard value to play. You have to be kind of price sensitive in NBA, much more so than in NFL, much more so than in baseball or golf. Every couple of $100 really means something, and it can be impactful for how much you need to get out of a player to pay off their salary. So Barea, kind of a fringe value for me, but the chat has kind of nailed it. Shabazz. Looking at Shabazz Napier, 300 less, still playing a ton of minutes on the season, 20.4 minutes, last 5 games, 29 minutes, last game, 33, couple games ago, 41. We see what happens when players come back. If he is starting tonight for the Trailblazers, which we expect him to, this is another situation where we're going to expect 30 fantasy points from somebody that should be able to pay that 6x off for us. Looks like a real easy spot here. So we'll plug him in there to give us an average remaining salary of 7.3K essentially for the rest of our players. You watched the beginning of this video, so you absolutely know who we're going to next. It ain't that hard. I'm just going to plug in Russ. Most expensive player on the slate, highest usage player on the slate, averages just under 60 fantasy points a game. If he has a bad night, it'll be 45 points. On a short slate, you want to lock in the studs as best you can. Stars and scrubs, best efficiency for me in terms of going stars and scrubs. Gives me the best chance at having ceiling games and easy guys that can pay off their salary. Russ Westbrook is a no-brainer for me on the short slate tonight. And then we need forwards, right? We have no more spots to play any more guards. So we can plug in DeRozan at 8.3. I talked about him and how his usage goes through the roof whenever Lowry's off the floor. He really, really, really needs to score in order to be effective. Okay, so if he doesn't have a 30-plus point night, it's going to be really hard for him to get to that 45 points that we kind of want from him as a floor. I'm not against DeRozan. We can be a little bit cost-sensitive and go back down to Paul George here from the same game. We know what we get out of Paul George. The average points per game is down 38.7 from what I expect out of DeRozan tonight. You get a couple extra points on average for DeRozan versus Paul George. I'm going to go with Paul George here and just ride this OKC stack. If you want to try and fit Aaron Gordon or DeRozan in this, you can still do it, as you see at your power forward and center. If you can find a couple of values, it's possible to play both. If I'm going to choose one for my second and fifth player into this lineup, because that's what we do, I give you 3 values, 2 studs that I really want to go with, and these are the ones right here. We're going to go with Van Vliet, Wright, and Napier as our value plays, and I'm going to go to OKC looking at Westbrook and Paul George as my 2 studs on the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Who are your 3 top values for the day? Which 2 studs are you building around on this slate? And have these videos helped you? Let me know what else you want to see from this channel, and we'll see if we can incorporate it into future videos. Be sure to click that like button and hit subscribe before you leave. And thank you once again for watching these videos. Good luck tonight. Bye, guys.